Hello everyone, panibagong video na naman ang ating matutunghayan ukol sa pamahalaan at isyu na ating kinakaharap ngayon. Ang pag-subscribe mo sa aming channel ay pagsuporta mo na din sa mahal nating Pangulo. Ang layunin ng channel na ito ay ibalita ang dapat malaman ng taong bayan na hindi pinapalabas sa TV at mainstream media. Salamat sa pagsuporta.
Who overturned the stop payment
Kasi ang kagandahan kasi sana ng Mr. Chair, dahil marami na nag-aabuso at right and left na, at dahil puso ng bawat doktor at ospital ang Philhealth, the stop payment hurt them to the core. At marami ang lumapit at ang kanilang sinabi, okay, we're going to negotiate, we're going to stop fraudulent claims, we're going to align with the mandate of the Philippine Health Insurance, basta ipagpatuloy nyo na kami. And then nagkaroon ng mga settlement na kumbaga may fines, wala ng kaso, hindi na gagamitin yung mga abogado para pahirapan yung PhilHealth. And that was good. So my question is, why would you overturn something that was helping your institution? And now you start talking about reforms, about cleansing PhilHealth, pretending that you can implement universal health care? My God, that's next to impossible. How can you implement universal health care if you insist and persist to be blind and deaf to what is happening around all of you? So, Mr. Chair, may I request that PhilHealth produce documents that overturn the reforms that I initiated with huge and extreme difficulty in PhilHealth. Napakahirap po, Mr. Chair. Wala po akong sinabi ng mga nakaraang panahon, but my experience as chairman of the board was very difficult. First, board resolutions were not being headed to. Minsan hindi pa pinapasa, nagiging bulag-bulagan at naiipit at pilit na winawala. It is not true. Natakot sila sa board resolutions, just like what they are saying and pointing to in the case of the senior citizens, because our experience actually points to the fact that many of our decisions, lalong-lalo na yung mga resolution related to fraud, being approved and passed by the board, ay hindi po pinapasa. Hahalungkatin mo pa yung bawat opisina, pupunta ka pa sa kababaan-babaang opisina at hahanapin mo only to find out na, oops, hindi pala in-implement. Ang isasagot sa iyo, ay, ma'am, hindi po nakarating sa opisina namin ang resolution niyo. That can be proven, Mr. Chair, if you look at the reckoning dates by which board resolutions and reforms on PhilHealth were passed, approved by the board, but remained unimplemented. So my next question, Mr. Chair, yung pong ino-audit na ang PhilHealth, right and left po na sinasabi, yung pera ng PhilHealth at yung pera daw ng senior citizens na 10.6 billion was diverted to DOH. Nagulat po ako because it's a big lie. May I inquire from PhilHealth if indeed there was entry of 10.6 billion to the coffers of PhilHealth? Can somebody from the finance department of PhilHealth or somebody from the legal office answer the question?
Mr. Sako, you can reply to that.
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, good evening. Based on record of PhilHealth, Your Honor, wala ho kaming natanggap na sinasabi ni Congressman Garin na 10.6 billion, Your Honor.
Mr. Chair, kung wala naman pala kayong natanggap, why is it that some of you here who are present here now kept on pointing to a 10.6 billion fund that was diverted from Philhealth to DOH. Bakit pilit na gumagawa kayo ng mga kasinungalingan para pagtakpan ang mga pinaggagawa ng iilan?
Honorable Garin, would you know in particular who came out with a statement on that?
John Basa, I also saw Ish in many of the meetings in Senate and even here. And in fact, they had presentations to the board, explaining to the board na kaya walang pondo yung PhilHealth kasi dinivert daw sa DOH. Naniwala naman yung presidente during that time, si Dr. De La Serna, and their attention were diverted to issues that were actually non-existent. And that was why
I'm sorry, Dr. Vargas was quoted as saying that the 10.6.
he was present in those meetings and during the times that the allegations, and I think he was the one who was always at the side of Dr. De La Serna.
But it was Dr. De La Serna.
The whole board was made to believe that it was inexistent, and during that time, I don't know, maybe like the people who were feeding the board wrong information ended up being promoted, Mr. Chair. Konsensya na po nila yun kung hindi nila aminin kasi makikita na naman bakit yung iba dito ay nagkaroon ng mabilisan na promotion. And now some of them are senior vice presidents. Anyway, Mr. Chair, I just brought that out in the open because that is how strong the real mafia is. Kaya nilang gumawa ng kwento, kaya nilang magkunyari na may perang pumasok, kaya nilang magsabing may mga legal na basihan maski wala, at kaya nilang mag-implement ng batas maski hindi pa batas. Simply said,
Quick interjection. Magkano yung pondo ninyo for media, for PR? We all have that. I was in housing, I had that. In the other agencies, I had that. Magkano yung pondo ng PhilHealth sa media? For PR. Mr. Dimsiako?
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, sorry po, wala pa akong figure dito.
More or less. 300 million, 500 million, 1 billion?
Your Honor,
Chair.
Yes, who is talking? Can I?
this is Vice President Shirley Domingo. I'm handling the Corporate Affairs Group at the moment.
Yes, VP Domingo, go ahead.
Yes, sir. For this year, we have around 20 million for our budget for advertisements, prints. Around 20 million po for this year.
20 million.
Yes, sir.
Yun lang ho ang budget nyo for advertising?
Yes, sir, for this year.
Last year po, magkano po?
I think it will be around. That, but the year before that it was around 70+ million. That would be around 2 years ago. But this was brought down for several reasons. Therefore, it would be around 22 million last year and this year.
Salamat po.
I'm sorry, sir. I haven't the exact amount now, but it will be around that.
Ako, salamat po. Salamat po dun. Okay, Congressman Garin.
Mr. Chair, when Dr. Ish Pargas was the spokesperson, maybe he would know how much the budget was allocated for ads. Di ba, meron ka pong TV program? You had a TV program before, you had ads and campaign. Magkano po ba yun?
Mr. Chair, Madam Congresswoman, I don't remember po, but we can provide.
Yeah, can you check if it reached around 400 million?
Mr. Chair, Madam Congresswoman, we will provide for the details.
Okay.
400 million, Honorable Garin?
maybe he was the spokesperson, he was having
Yes.
these TV programs, and siguro naman yung intention is, yeah, Mr. Chair, another question. Di ba kasi paulit-ulit natin naririnig walang pondo yung PhilHealth. At paulit-ulit din kami nananawagan. Why is it that PhilHealth is renting expensive offices in malls? Kasi matagal ko nang pinapakiusap na baka pwedeng tanggalin na lang yon para makasave tayo, yung pondo na yon, itulong na lang sa mga mahihirap. I will always say, hear a response, yes, yes, yes. Pero Mr. Chair, hanggang ngayon, tina nasa mall pa rin yung PhilHealth. The reason that was given to us before, mas maganda daw po pag nasa mall, baka po merong mga walk-in na magpa-enroll sa PhilHealth. Mr. Chair, distinguished colleagues, I would even appreciate it more if you have a clinic in the mall rather than an office in the malls. So is this still ongoing? Please answer. May mga opisina pa ba kayo sa mga rented buildings, sa mga malls? Kasi ang naging usapan natin, matagal na. In fact, I even volunteered and showed to you that it is possible by talking to the town of Gimbal, my hometown, and requesting the LGU to a portion, a space in the covered ko sa munisipyo, isang opisina doon na pinaayos namin, pinagamit sa PhilHealth, free of charge. And we had several meetings, and we told you, why don't you ask for a free space or a free office in each provincial capital or in each city hall para wala na kayong rental and you will be near to the services because many people would go to these government offices. I don't know, Mr. Chair, bakit gusto mong mag-opisina sa mall?
Honorable Garin, can we go to the next question? Would there be a reply to Honorable Garin, yung opisina sa malls? Go ahead, VP
Dennis Mas, sir.
Dennis Mas.
Nung assign ako sa Philhealth Region 6, nag-open ho kami doon, ma'am, ng office doon sa town of Gimbal. So, na-establish yung office na yon. So, hanggang ngayon, ay parang service desk siya.
May bayad po ba yun o wala?
Alam ko, ma'am, operational pa yun hanggang ngayon.
Yes.
Sa likod ng, ano ba yun? Parang gymnasium yun.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, my question to Dr. Dennis Mas, may rental ba yun or wala?
Nung araw, ma'am, parang rental ni Mayor Christine. Yun yung pagkaalala ko.
Meron o wala?
Parang meron, ma'am.
Pagkakaalam ko kasi wala.
Sige. Check ko lang kasi medyo matagal na 2011 o 2012 pa.
So it is a replica, it is an example wherein you can actually hold offices under government offices at no cost to the members of the Philippine Health Insurance.
And some LGUs are volunteering para palapit yung services namin sa kanilang constituents. So nagpapalibre sila sa mga offices nila. Nandoon yung PhilHealth. Yung dinadala na lang natin yung computer sa tao. Kasi gusto rin nila yun, especially sa mga one-stop shop. Pero yung mga regional offices naman natin ngayon ay naghahanap rin ng malipatan na mas maganda, hindi binabaha, spacious, and then usually ground floor. And we are also updating our guidelines para maging responsive
Mr. Chair.
Convenient sa members.
Mr. Chair, if I may, kasi wala pa po ako sa PhilHealth dati, nasa probinsya pa lang po ako, paulit-ulit po kami nagtatanong kasi yun po ang sagot kailangan ng spacious office, kailangan maraming tao, kaya dapat sa mall. Napakamahal po ng rental sa mall. Yung mga nagpapa-enroll naman, Mr. Chair, ng PhilHealth, wala naman sa mall Kung ako ay magkakasakit at kailangan kong magpa-reimburse o meron akong katanungan sa PhilHealth, hindi ako pupunta sa mall. I'll go to the hospital. So my question, Mr. Chair, is this. For the past several decades, na pinag-uusapan natin, stop renting expensive offices. Stop renting malls and buildings. Nag-offer na nga ang mga governors. They have spaces in the provincial capitals. City mayors are giving you offices. You can share the office of the DOH regional offices. You can also hold office in the LG. Bakit kailangan magbayad sa mall? So my question is this, can you now commit under oath that all these offices will be terminated? Kasi sabi niyo, okay ma'am, next year.
Honorable Garin, maybe what we should do is ask the board as a matter of policy na gawin po nila yan so that this will be followed by the executive officers. Yes, Mr. Mas.
Sir, some info, no? Kahit dito man ako na-assign before sa NCR, ang Robinson talaga nag-offer ng free space sa Philhealth. Ang tawag dito, Lingkod Pinoy. Libre ho yun lahat. Dito sa NCR, dyan sa Taguig, binigyan tayo ng SM. Dito sa SM, yung doon sa Aura, dito rin sa SM North, mga libre ho yun. Pero totoo yun, may mga LGUs talaga na nag-offer doon sa...
So Mr. Chair, libre lahat ng pwesto sa malls? Walang bayad kuryente, walang bayad
except
tubig?
kung ganun kalaki talaga ng Region 6, napakalaki talaga ng regional office na yun eh. Pero kung mga ano lang...
Sir, sorry ha, clarify ko lang. Yung Region 6, libre rin yan?
may bayad yun talaga ma'am kasi napakalaki.
May bayad yan.
Napakalaki na talaga.
So minsan may bayad, minsan walang bayad. O pwedeng libre yung maliit na pwesto, pero may bayad yung malaking pwesto.
Yung maliliit ma'am nasa malls, libre yun talaga. Pero kung regional offices talaga ng mga 2,000 square meters, mga 3,000, hindi na kaya. May bayad
Mr.
talaga.
Chair,
At saka
just to clarify,
public.
I'm not referring to promotional booths. Bumabalik po kasi tayo, sir eh. Ang nangyayari kasi, pagka may problema, either hindi natin tinatanggap na may problema o naghahanap tayo ng palusot. Kasi sinasabi niyo ngayon, libre siya. These are promotional booths. Yung nandoon ka sa gitna ng mall or meron kang pwesto doon or sa hallway and you promote Philhealth. Sinong gustong magpa-enroll? Yun po ang libre. Pero yung mga malalaking opisina, may bayad yun. It's in your budget.
Ang point ni Honorable Garin po, hindi po yung promotional booth nga, kundi yung opisina talaga. At any rate, Honorable Garin, maybe we can ask the board na kasama natin ngayon na gawin na nila yung policy so that the executive can also follow. At wag na po magkaroon ng maging problema tong, because it's a very good suggestion na magamit talaga natin yung mga public offices for that. So if we may have the commitment of the board to assist us on this as part of our cost-saving measure for Philhealth. Yes, ma'am.
On my part, Mr. Chairman, naisip ko lang yung advantage of being in the mall. Kasi ngayon ko lang din naman narinig yan, being new in the board. Pero hindi kaya, gusto ko lang munang tignan the advantage of going to the mall. Kasi maraming tao dun sa mall. Kaya iniisip ko, it is accessible to people. Kaya baka yun ang reason.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
At saka hindi rin lang, kung malayong office, hindi pupuntahan ng tao yun.
Okay,
Pero
ma'am.
kung sa mall doon, even churches now, they go to the mall.
Ma'am, let's do this,
Mr.
ha?
Chair,
Baka yun ano yung nakikita ko lang ha. I'm sorry.
Yes, madam. This is not the venue to debate on this. Pero yung point po ni Honorable Garin, pag-aralan po natin yan because ang intent natin is bawasan yung cost ng ating ng
Mr.
PhilHealth.
Chair.
So maybe if you can look at this as a policy because you are part of the board. Honorable Garin?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I may, ma'am, tama po kayo. Ngayong mall, maganda siya kasi maraming tao. But we're talking about Philhealth here. Yung transaction po ng Philhealth, online yun. Kapag ikaw yung empleyado, kinakaltasan yung sahod mo, nire-remit ng iyong employer papunta sa Philhealth through the bank. Am I right? Pagka naman yung Philhealth nagbabayad, online naman, pinapadala naman dun sa account ng hospital o sa account ng mga clinics or doctors. In other words, the foot traffic, while it is high in malls, is not conducive for PhilHealth kasi wala naman talagang walk-in na nagpapa-enroll sa PhilHealth. Napakakonti. Yung mga nagpapa-enroll ng PhilHealth, either employee ka or grupo kayo, and if you look at the pros and cons, vis-a-vis the rental, walang pumupunta ng PhilHealth na magpa-reimburse ng gastusin.
Honorable
You do it in the hospital.
Ma'am, Honorable Garin, I don't think this is the time to debate on the rental policy of PhilHealth. You would have your own time in the board to discuss that. And Honorable Garin, may I remind you of the time? Maybe we can go to the last question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My last question is this. Paulit-ulit po kasi, nung inaudit ang PhilHealth, paulit-ulit pong rason ng ginawa na ninakawan ko raw ng 10.6 billion ang PhilHealth at nilipat sa DOH. For the record, Mr. Chair, that is a big lie. But this lie was made because there was collusion among officers in PhilHealth to divert the attention of the board. Bago kasi mga dumating na board dinivert yung attention para hindi nila malaman yung katotohanan. But what is the truth? First, the 10.6 billion is not PhilHealth funds. Yung totoo po dyan, Mr. Chair, I'm saying this because I learned we have new members of the board. I had 3 representations before the Department of Budget and Management during that time. Because the officers of PhilHealth told me nauubos ang pondo dahil hindi sila binabayaran ng DBM. So I went to DBM, very proud, asking for the payment. Nagagalit na nga ako, sabi ko, bayaran niyo yung PhilHealth. To my surprise, on the 3rd meeting, para po akong binuhusan ng boiling water. Nanliit po ako at nahiya ako sa sarili ko. Because DBM told me front, ma'am, pwede ka naming makausap, wala kang mga kasama dito sa maliit na kwarto. And they showed me, gustuhin man naming bayaran yung sinasabing 10 points, malaki po yun, I think 30 billion. Itong mga iba, hindi ito totoong miyembro. At ito yung pinapabayaran ng miyembro para i-justify yung 10.6 billion because it's there as a program fund. Laking gulat ko nung makita ko that the list of members there are existing members. Ibig sabihin, miyembro na, ginawa pa ulit na miyembro. Binago-bago lang yung mga pangalan. This is the worst thing. They carve out the names of the dependents of PhilHealth members. Ibig sabihin, kung si Congressman Mike Defensor, meron siyang akasawa, Mrs. Danica Fernandez, example lang po yan. Ay hindi, Defensor mag-asawa pala, dapat parang apelyido, sorry. So, yung mag-asawa, meron yung mga anak. At yung mga anak, miyembro ng PhilHealth kasi anak nila. Kinuha yung mga pangalan ng mga anak o kinuha yung mga pangalan ng mga asawa at nire-enroll. Ano po ang direksyon nun? Gusto lang kunin ang pera sa DBM, but there will be no new enrollments, no new members, because they just want to get the money para pagtakpan yung mga nawawalang pera sa PhilHealth. And lastly, Mr. Chair, I would very much like to initiate again reforms in PhilHealth. So if the honorable officers of PhilHealth here can bring out all the reforms we did, put it back, do not deceive the members of the board, do not deceive the PhilHealth president. Dahil paulit-ulit po ito na nangyayari. This is worse than a pandemic because the pandemic comes every 100 years. Sa inyo, every time may bagong nahapon, dinideceive nyo. Mr. Chair, I have 2 very important proposals to cleanse PhilHealth. And almost all of you here are aware of that. First, individual enrollment. Pagkapanganak, miyembro. Pag namatay, tanggal sa lista. Meron naman tayong National Statistic Authority eh. Pwedeng mas mababa ang premium. That's why we incorporated that in the 2017 proposed budget. I was the one who defended the Philhealth budget for 2017, kaya yan lumaki because computed doon individual membership. When I left, they pretended it was forgotten. Kasi ang totoo lang, there is a study in Philhealth, marami yung hindi enrolled. Kasi kapag ikaw ay minor at naging sobra ka na at 21 years old, natatanggal ka na din sa membership ng magulang mo. Pagka ako in-member, dahil dependent ako ng asawa ko, nawalan ng trabaho yung asawa ko, wala na rin akong membership. So let's do it individual para mawala yung mga pangalan dyan na hindi totoong tao. O mga totoong tao pero ginawan ng pangalan 2 beses, 3 beses, 5 beses. Next, you have to outsource your legal office and your finance department should be independently seen. IT, yes, it has been always a problem, but most of it is intentional. When we tried to automate Philhealth, kaliwat kanan na bugbog, ang suntot-suntok ang natanggap ko. Bottom line is this. Since 2001, I was not yet in Congress. I stood up and fought against cataract fraud, citing the collusion between Philippine Postal Office and some officers of PhilHealth. Nagkaroon ng Seacrest report. It is a Bible indicating how fraud is being done. Unfortunately, all of the copies are missing up to this point of time. That study was commissioned by DOH in the early 2000s. Nagkaroon ng reforms ng 2004, nawala ulit, binalik yung reforms ng 2006, nawala ulit, binalik yung reforms ng 2014 and 15, nawala ulit. It will always be a repeated cycle. Talking about universal healthcare law, Mr. Chair, napakaganda ng batas na ito. But that will lead us to nowhere. If the people who has been continuously deceiving the minds of those who does not understand health financing, wala tayong mapupuntahan. Kaya ang tanong ko, Dr. Ish, you have been in PhilHealth for 21 years.
We have a curfew.
Yes, Mr. Chair, did you ever do cash advance refund for Yolanda? Kasi yan ang palagi niyong reason. Okay.
May cash
the reason,
advance po ba sa Yolanda? Yung ginagawa natin ngayon sa
IRM.
COVID, sa IRM.
May IRM din po in 2013 for the Yolanda.
May cash advance po.
How did we...
Ang sinasabi niyo kasi, nag-IRM kayo kasi ginagawa na yan dati pa. By the term alone, interim reimbursement mechanism. Cash advance is never a mode of payment in any insurance facility. It is not a mechanism of payment in PhilHealth. I am 2,000% sure of that. So ngayon, ba't mo sinasabi na meron ng IRM dati? Nagkaroon ba ng precedence? Was there ever a cash advance released during calamities? Mr. Chair, I don't think we will get the right answers. I just do hope that we will all have the conscience to cleanse PhilHealth. I rest my case. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Honorable Garin. I think it's very clear yung pinopoint out nyo dun sa cash advance. Wala naman ganun. But it's called the IRM dati, but it was not a cash advance. So, we just have a manifestation from our members in Zoom. Our Deputy Speaker, Ferdy Hernandez, Deputy Speaker Hernandez is recognized. Nandiyan pa ho ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead, Deputy Speaker.
Magandang gabi po, Mr. Chair. I would like to make a short manifestation because earlier during the hearing, medyo lumabas yung name ng SPMC, no? Yung Southern Philippines Medical Center. And parang it created an impression that it's getting preferential treatment o may favoritism. At bakit yung SPMC located in Davao City, Region 11, nagkaroon ng isa sa pinakamalaking claims, no, sa Philhealth. Parang lumalabas, napapaboran ito, and bakit SPMC is getting that amount compared to other hospitals that are popular in name. Siguro for the information of everyone, no, kailangan lang natin makorek yung impression that SPMC located in Davao at saka yung Tagum Medical in Tagum City are major hospital, government hospitals po to, no? Yung SPMC, I think it's one of the biggest government hospitals in the country. May bed capacity ito ng 1,500 and more than 3,600 ang personnel nito. And not only general hospital ito, marami ditong specialty healthcare services that they offer. No, meron ditong the Heart Institute, Cancer Institute, Intensive Care Complex, yung Women and Newborn Institute, Orthopedic Intensive Care Complex. In fact, it has the biggest hemodialysis center with 65 chairs, no? So I'm from Region 11, and most of the Mindanaoans really rely on SPMC because they cater to yung mga medyo complicated na sakit at they provide good service, no? Very accommodating yung SPMC, especially Mindanaoan. So hindi lang ho nagki-cater yan sa Region 12. Ako from Region 11, we rely on SPMC na as a regional hospital. Although hindi namin regional hospital, but most of the people in Region 12 na nangangailangan ng tulong, health services, go to SPMC. And the same, siguro I can speak with other regions na malapit sa Davao, talagang very reliable yung SPMC. You know, people cannot afford to go to Manila if you have cancer.
Deputy Speaker Hernandez.
You can do heart surgery in SPMC. No? So,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, mabilis lang po. Dagdag ko lang sa sinabi nyo, nung nagsimula po ang COVID, 5 hospital po ang designated. Vicente Soto for the Visayas, Southern Philippines for Mindanao, in fact for Luzon and NCR, PGH, Lung Center, and National Kidney. Kaya isa lang po sa Mindanao ang binigyan ng parang sub-laboratory for COVID, yan pong Southern Philippines. And I agree with you. In fact, sa Visayas, Vicente Soto lang po ang nabigyan nila. Deputy Speaker Hernandez.
Tama po yan. In fact, yung, kung titignan mo, in 1 year, ang patients na pupunta sa SPMC, more than 76,000. Hindi kasama dyan yung 500,000 na outpatient. So you could just imagine, dahil ito ay sa Davao, talagang pinupuntahan ito ng karamihan, gustong humingi ng tulong and very accommodating sila. In fact, kung titignan mo sa PhilHealth, isa sa pinakamalaking income yung SPMC, amounting to more than 1.2 billion ang income niyan. Kaya if you look at the average ng IRM niya, talagang mataas dahil talagang one of the most reliable government hospital in Mindanao, and they cater to all Mindanaoans. So yun lang, Mr. Chair, kasi parang nagkakaroon ng mali siya dahil located sa Davao, and para isip nila napapaboran. Hindi po, I'm not from Davao, but most of the officials from LGUs and yung mga kongresista pagdating sa pasyente na talagang complicated at saka talagang kailangan ng special treatment, we always refer it to SPMC. Ganun po kalaki ang tulong ng SPMC, pati yung Tagum Medical sa mga Mindanaoan. So that's all, Mr. Chair. Maraming salamat po. Magandang gabi po.
Mr. Chair, thank you so much, Deputy Speaker Ferdinand Hernandez. May I please recognize Deputy Speaker Dan Hernandez.
Mr. Chairman, that's the reason why parang itong computation po ninyo, no, on how do you arrive para do sa distribution po natin sa IRM. parang hindi po siya nagbabalanse. Ano? Ito pong average reimbursement per day nyo na minumultiply nyo sa number of days covered. Pag binalanse po natin dito kanina, I was listening to Congresswoman Kimbo eh. And now, ngayon ko lang na-realize, Mr. Chairman, that sa Visayas and Mindanao ay tigisa rin lang. So, parang yung computation ninyo ay mali. And that's the reason why, Mr. Chairman, we need a further computation para makita natin kung itong ginawa nilang formulasyon on how to arrive on the IRM fund is really correct or meron silang pinapaboran ng mga ospital. So, if we find out na ang computation ito na binigay po ninyo sa amin base sa submission ninyo dito sa mga naka-receive ng IRM at ginamit natin itong computation na to, talaga niloloko tayo ng PhilHealth, Mr. Chairman. So, I think, Mr. Chair, we need a further analysis on this computation in relation to sa mga hospital na naka-receive ng IRM. And in that case, Mr. Chairman, malalaman po natin kung tama yung distribution nila according sa formulation.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker Fernandez. Honorable Garin.
Mr. Chair, in relation to the Southern Philippines Medical Center, I was Secretary of Health for 1 year and 5 months. Sa experience ko po, one of the most efficient, organized hospitals in our country is Southern Philippines Medical Center. It is highly comparable to many private institutions in Metro Manila. Bakit po marami silang pasyente? Dahil ito po ang naging mukha ng ideal government hospital wherein even the private patients and even the private hospitals all over Mindanao refers to that hospital. So in fairness, Mr. Chair, I would agree that we have to look at IRM as a mechanism that can be abused. But if you look at SPMC or the Southern Philippines Medical Center, they have been a consistent top-notcher in PhilHealth funds because they have exemplified and perfected the mandate by which they actually get their earnings from PhilHealth, reinvest it for further services, and make it a premier hospital in the whole of Mindanao. They have PET scan, they have all the services that every Mindawanan would always aspire, unlike before that they have to fly to Manila. Bottom line is, SPMC made possible every health service available in Manila has been made available in Mindanao because of SPMC. And in my 1 year with PhilHealth, I have never encountered any suspicion or report related to fraud and related to SPMC. That's for the record, Mr. Chair.
Thank you so much, our Senior Deputy Minority Floor Leader, the Honorable Garin. May I now recognize the Honorable Gasataya is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, at sa lahat ng mga kasama natin. Mr. Chair, I know it's quite late, no? So instead of asking some questions to PhilHealth, may I just make a very brief manifestation, Mr. Chair. In line with the IRM, just bring to the attention of the central office. In Bacolod City, Honorable Chair, we have a regional hospital. No? This is the Corazon Luksin Montelibano Memorial Regional Hospital, Honorable Chair. Since March up to the present, this hospital caters to moderate as well as severe cases of COVID-19. Last March 18, Honorable Chair, they sent a letter of intent addressed to the central office of PhilHealth, and last July 7, they signed a memorandum of agreement, between PhilHealth and the said regional hospital. This was endorsed by the regional office to the central office. But when I look at the records of PhilHealth from their website, medyo nahirapan po akong hanapin yung pangalan ng hospital na nabigyan na-release ng IRM last July 31. At present, Honorable Chair, just today, no, the hospital has 32 cases in its COVID ward. 20 are positive and 12 are waiting for results. The hospital has 29 health personnel who became positive with COVID-19, 8 doctors, 4 nurses, and 17 non-medical staff. Since March until July 11, they already handled 118 COVID-19 patients, Honorable Chair. So dito makikita natin that this government hospital kailangan ng tulong in terms of IRM. So we don't understand, no, the central office of Philhealth kung bakit sa lahat ng mga hospitals sa buong Western Visayas, isa lang yung nabigyan nila at the rest hindi po nakatanggap, kasama na po dito yung regional hospital po dito sa lungsod ng Bacolod. So I hope that in the next hearing, Honorable Chair, Philhealth can come up with a clear policy kung sino ba yung dapat unahin. We understand that in the first phase, there are a lot of cases in NCR, but right now, mataas na rin po yung cases namin dito sa Western Visayas. And just a brief manifestation, Honorable Chair, earlier in the hearing, the Honorable Chair Alvarado mentioned that the said hospital has a collectibles to Philhealth to about 134.6 million pesos. Last Monday, I was informed because I wrote a letter to Philhealth that they are now reconciling the claims between Philhealth and the Corazon Locsin Montelibano Memorial General Hospital. So hopefully that can be addressed because this government hospital in Bacolod City, this regional hospital, really needs the funding to continue its operation as well as its molecular laboratory, Mr. Chair. So maraming salamat po at magandang gabi sa lahat.
Dr. Vargas, I joined the Honorable Gasataya with this demand. Hindi to request, it is a demand. Kasi po ang sabi ninyo, nakita ko kayo sa Senate hearing, ang sinasabi ninyo, hindi kasi nag-submit yung director sa Region 6. Tama po ba?
Mr. Chair, I think that was the statement of our president then.
Okay, so General Morales was the one who said that. Ngayon po, kung ang criteria lang naman is yung services plus the days, no, binultiply ninyo, bakit po ang Region 6, particularly ang Iloilo, ay na-deprive, which is my home province, and na-deprive din ng pondo kung hindi pala favoritism to at may formula tayo?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I will check on what happened to the MOA, or I mean the requests sent for Region 6, and we shall report on this.
Thank you so much. On Monday, Dr. Vargas, kindly please give us an update on this. I know in the Honorable Gasataya on his demand that Region 6 should be given its proper attention as regards COVID. Kailangan po naman, kung ang sabi natin may formula, wala po sanang palakasan kung sino yung magsasubmit, kung sino yung gagawa. Kung hindi, immediately, lahat ng ospital meron kagad recognition based, particularly po ang public hospitals na magtulong dito sa problema ng COVID. So, Honorable Dan?
Mr. Chair, ito in relation to what you have said, no? Yung average reimbursement per day ng hospital, di ba? Correct, Mr. Vargas?
Historical claims po.
Ito po yung kinukuha natin sa mga hospital, di ba? Yung average reimbursement per day. Ang nag-i-issue nitong ARPD ay binibase nyo doon sa hospital. Is that right?
Base po natin doon sa data po natin.
Data na nanggaling sa hospital.
Ito po ay doon binibase po natin, especially po doon sa amount ng ibinayad po natin. Plus yun pong mga...
Have you submitted that, Mr. Vargas, sa committee na ito? Yung pong mga ARPD?
Yes.
Meron tayo. Mr. Chairman.
Deputy Speaker Fernandez, yung pong circular nilang IRM, meron pong sinabmit. But as to the particular hospital, wala po.
Well, what I'm trying to say, Mr. Chairman, para ma-compute natin kung tama yung ginagawa nilang formulasyon, we need to find out the specific average reimbursement per day. ng bawat HCIs. At imumultiply natin to doon sa number of days covered. Para makita natin kung yung distribution nyo ng IRM na nakalagay dito sa inyong pinadala, actually ito, galing to sa Senado eh. Kinunan ko lang sa TV to eh. Para makita ko yung mga distribution kahapon. Do you have a copy of this? Yung sinasabi ni Mr. Lim Siaco kanina that as of July 21, almost how much na tayo sa release ng IRM? Ilan na? As of July 21, ilan na nare-release natin sa IRM? 14 billion.
97 billion, Your Honor.
14 billion.
Tapos ang...
So ngayon, itong 14 billion ito is scattered to how many hospitals?
That is, Your Honor, 711 hospitals, Your Honor.
711 hospitals.
Facilities, Your Honor.
No. What's that? Facilities, okay. Can you give us, andyan ba yung copy nyo? Can you give us now yung copy ng 14 billion tapos 700 plus facilities na nakatanggap ng IRM? At based dito sa ginagawa po ninyong computation, we will try to compute kung talagang tama yung distribution nyo or meron kayong ginawang favoritism. Kasi kung sa formulation nyo, hindi nagtama yung pag-release nyo ng IRM, kitang-kita na, Mr. Chairman, that meron kayong pinapaboran. Can you kindly give us, Mr. Chairman? Kasi you have submitted this to the Senate eh. Ito yung ginawa niyong presentation eh. I saw it yesterday eh. So I just took the picture.
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, naibigay na daw ng ating liaison sa committee po.
Meron ba tayo?
Listahan po ng nabigyan ng IRM po.
No. Not the list, I think. It's not the list that Mr.
Ay, hiningi ko, Mr. Chairman, yung list ng mga
top hospitals.
Hindi, kasi Mr. Chairman, para makita po natin kung yung distribution na sinasabi po nila sa lahat ng mga facilities is nagtatama doon sa formulation nila. Kasi nga, katulad yan, sa Visayas, sa Mindanao, tigi-tigisa lamang pala, nabigyan. Tapos meron dito, ang dami sa NCR. Well, hindi natin kina-question na NCR malaki. But unfortunately, kung hindi tama yung pag-distribute according sa IRM formulation, ibig sabihin there's something wrong, Mr. Chairman. Kaya nga gusto ko sana makuha ngayon yung as of July 21 na sinabmit ninyo sa Senado. At wala pa po kaming kopya with corresponding amount. Ayan, makikita nyo, yung nga kanina sinasabi ko na level 1, binigyan nyo ng mga 45 million. Yung panay, Mr. Chairman, I think dito makikita natin kung talagang niloloko nila ang committee na to with regards dun sa formulation in relation to the releases sa IRM. Meron po ba?
Deputy Speaker Fernandez, meron po silang bigay sa atin na listahan, level 1, level 2, and level 3. No, it's a long list. Meron po silang mahabang listahan, level 1, level 2, level 3. Nakalagay po doon yung pondo. Pero as to the formula for each hospital, wala na po doon. So, may we know in particular ano po yung gusto niyo?
Ang hinihingi ko po, Mr. Chairman, aside from that is the average reimbursement per day.
Of all the hospitals?
Of all the hospitals.
How many hospitals are part of the IRM?
For example lang, Medical City, magkano yung average reimbursement per day doon? Then, multiply mo doon sa number ng days covered.
Tama po, Honorable Deputy Speaker Fernandez. Pero ang ibig ko sabihin, how many hospitals do we have in IRM? 700?
Sir Chair, the released
No. How many hospitals identified under IRM?
5,000 plus, I think, po, for all the facilities.
Yes, you have that 5,000, but you have released only 729, if I'm not mistaken.
711
700 what?
as to date. 711.
711. 14 billion na i-distribute natin doon sa 711.
Yes po.
At ang computation ninyo is based on the average reimbursement per day multiply sa number of days covered. So yun ang gusto namin makita. Yung average reimbursement per day sa bawat ospital para malaman po natin kung tama itong ginawa niyong formulation. So Meron ba kayong kopya ngayon ng average reimbursement per day? Can you kindly submit it to us, Mr. Chairman? At nasa ganun po ay makompute natin pagdating po ng Monday, mabalanse po natin to kung tama po yung ginawa nila, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Philhealth is requested to submit those.
Kaya nga, Mr. Chairman, yung average reimbursement per day ng bawat ospital at saka yung number of days covered.
Okay.
Okay, so may I continue, Mr. Chairman? May I continue? Okay, go ahead. Okay, tapos na po ba tayo sa case rate, Mr. Chairman? Tapos na.
Well, technically we are, pero siguro pwede pang ituloy sa, kasi ang Deputy Speaker Fernandez, yung curfew natin, mayroon din mga nasa Zoom, na maaaring maipit.
So, Mr. Chairman, I know, napagod na rin ang chairman. Hindi pa tayo kumakain at mga resource speakers na nandito po natin. Gusto niyo po ba ituloy o pagod na po kayo? Gusto niyo po bang magpahinga na? You can take a leave of absence kung gusto po ninyo. Kung gusto niyo. Well, anyway, Mr. Chairman, sige, I will not continue anymore my interpellation on the second issue that we are going to tackle sana. No? Ang susunod po natin sana itatakal ay tungkol na po sa IRM, sa IT, sa financial management, which I'll be tackling on the next hearing.
Deputy Speaker Fernandez, on Monday, our next hearing, you will be the first one. 9 o'clock.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chairman. And I waited like 7 hours staying here with you. And I don't regret it. Dahil nga po, marami po tayong nadiskubre. At sana po lamang yung mga iimbitahan natin sa susunod, Mr. Chairman, ay please put strong words on the invitation para na sa ganun po ay hindi sila magdadahilan. Kung meron pa silang dahilan, pakita po yung medical certificate and we will validate na yung kanilang medical certificate is really true. Para na sa ganun, hindi po nagdadahilan yung iba natin iniimbitahan. So yun lamang po, Mr. Chairman, at maraming po salamat sa lahat ng ating mga resource speaker at sa iyo po, Mr. Chairman. Maraming po salamat sa pagbibigay mo ng pagkakataon na maliwanagan kahit sa ngayon po ay malabo pa ang mga sitwasyon na dapat po nating kaharapin. Maraming salamat, Mr. Chairman, at magandang gabi po sa ating lahat.
Thank you so much, Deputy Speaker Fernandez. Una po sa lahat, nais ko magpasalamat sa lahat ng guests natin dito. Para po sa akin, no, isang malaking indikasyon na kahit paano yung pagpunta nyo dito ay pagpapakita ng pagpapatotoo ninyo dun sa sitwasyon ng Philhealth at yung sinasabi yung mga naging problema nung nakaraan. In fact, kanina ho, nung nagsabi kayo na pipirma kayo ng waiver doon sa AMLAC, ay napakalaking bagay po yan. At I think very well appreciated, hindi lamang namin, kundi ng buong bansa. In the next hearing ho, Dr. Pargas, if I may request, or Mr. Limsiaco, yung record po ng Cardinal Santos doon sa compromise agreement ninyo, hindi po to yung recent, sometime I think in 2011, at saka po yung perpetual succor. Itong perpetual succor, may kaso pa rin to hanggang sa ngayon at nakasama rin siya sa IRM. I just want to get the documents on this for our next hearing on the all case rates issue also. Sa susunod po na hearing, ang iti-take up po natin ay yung interim reimbursement mechanism, yung Philhealth Finance, yung pondo po ng Philhealth which is related. At pwede na din na tayong pumasok doon sa IT, yung tatlong topics na yon on Monday. We would like to thank the members of the board. Ma'am, thank you po sa pagpunta nyo dito. And also our officers who are here right now, nandito po sa plenary at nandito sa atin din sa Zoom. I'd like to thank also the members of this committee, the Public Accounts Committee, and the members of the Good Government and Public Accountability. And of course, our Deputy Speaker, Dan Fernandez, for staying with us tonight. Ang susunod po nating hearing Monday, 9 a.m. And we will proceed with the topic of IRM, Philhealth Finance, and the IT procurement. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. And we will temporarily suspend the session until Monday, 9 a.m.
Duterte para sa tunay na pagbabago.